The burning question is it officially altcoin season? You can actually vote in the comment section below and you can let me know what your thoughts are. There is a poll that's running. Is it altcoin season? The question that everybody may be asking right now. And I'm here to answer in today's show. There's two very, very important charts that most of the crypto investors and traders out there are not paying enough attention to. And it's very, very telling. It's going to show you exactly what you can expect coming next. And it's hard to say that it's not altcoin season when you look at the bubbles and they look like this, with things like 𝗕𝗢𝗕𝗙 up 37%, not for the week but for the day. Jasmy up 16.37%. That is actually one of our positions that we have open over here. Let's just see, there it is, Jasmy, one of the stubborn ones that we waited for a long time to start to pump, now up 379% over there. You have 𝗖𝗢𝗘𝗘. These are some of the Dino coins still running, right? Chainlink running as well, VET running, Matic also starting to come up through the ranks. We have Ondo because BlackRock deposited a whole lot of capital on chain over there, which looked like it's due for real world assets. So Ondo breaking out to new all-time highs. There's a lot that we need to look at today. Smash the like button, hit the bell notification, and subscribe to the channel. If you're not already subscribed, make sure that you are subscribed to the channel, because one of the fastest growing channels in the world. And ultimately, we have a lot to cover in today's show. So let's get into it. What are the most important charts? Well, first and foremost, one of them, of course, is going to be the Bitcoin dominance chart, which not only now is breaking down the falling wedge, but if you do go onto a monthly scale, you do have a full-on bearish engulfing candle on the monthly scale. That is absolutely huge. Whenever you get a signal like this that's happening at an extremity, which it is, right? The extremity being the order block that led to the original breakdown, leading into whether it's a bullish engulfing candle at a range low or bearish engulfing candle at a range high. That is an extreme signal that should be taken very, very seriously. What is a bearish engulfing candle? Just quickly, for those of you out there who are wondering, it's ultimately when you see one candle print like this, and then the next candle basically opens up higher than the previous candle, but completely engulfs and closes below. So it opened up over there, it closed below there, fully engulfing the prior candle. That is your bearish engulfing candle, and it's exactly what we're seeing right now. By the way, for those of you who do want to learn more about all these technicals when it comes to charting and trading, there is Whale School. We're starting actually tomorrow. You can sign up using the link in the description below. It's entirely free, and will teach you everything you need to know about trading, so you can be a proficient trader. So going back over here, let's go into the weekly time frame. Now we're in free fall over here, and that's why you're starting to see, of course, the altcoin sector absolutely pump. And this is why I spoke to the audience just a couple of weeks ago, and we started to establish right here at the highs our positions into the altcoin sector, moving from what was already, we started to reposition what was a very, very heavy Bitcoin position leading into the top of this Bitcoin dominance rally. We started to position aggressively into altcoins. Near the top over here, my portfolio is already about 70% positioned into altcoins. And once this candle started to come down around the 58.5% level, I was 100% allocated into the altcoin sector, which is currently what my portfolio looks, holding absolutely zero Bitcoin other than one tiny small leverage position, which really doesn't account for much in my portfolio. So we are expecting that there is going to be a big breakdown over here. Now, there can be chops in between. If you do get that spike up on the Bitcoin dominance, that would be one more drop in the altcoins. I'm not holding my breath on that personally, but I think that drop will be absorbed very, very quickly. People will be buying up altcoins very, very quickly, and then you expect the continuation down. Now, the question is, how long can this last, right? Well, altcoin season can actually last for a very long time. If we look at the prior cycles, you can see that this lasted approximately, once you started to break down, about a year, right? Just shy of a year was the breakdown of the Bitcoin dominance from that time period. And then you had this one over here, also around the 1 year mark before altcoins found their bottom against Bitcoin. And that means good times to come, right? So how would this look if we consider the top over there and we break down for 1 full year? Well, that could take this all the way through into next year around October, November. Now, I do think that there will be scares in between. It's not going to be as easy as just positioning very heavy into altcoins. There will be flushes in between. I think that your first major flush for the altcoin sector, you could actually come somewhere around March, April for a local top. We'll talk about that more in a future show. Why? Because we're not at that point in time yet where it's relevant, right? The other thing that we can look at in the chart that many are ignoring, of course, is the total 3 and the others chart, which you can see is now breaking out, right? It's clearing this major area of resistance, which we had at 366 billion for the others. Others refers to the true altcoin, at least the altcoin index. So it's minusing the top 10 cryptocurrencies from CoinMarketCap and CoinGecko, and only looking at the rest of the altcoins, which is going to be the mid caps and the low cap coins. And you can see this is rising, right? Hitting through that pivot level. This is the pivot level over here. When you break through that pivot level, you tend to see acceleration. And remember, there is a measured move. This shows that this should lead at least to another 70% upside. And if you're picking the right altcoins, you can easily get 3 to 4 to 5x returns on those altcoins, despite only 70% upside potential before finding resistance on the others chart. You can see total 3 is now approaching resistance. This is going to be a key level. But if it's going to be anything like the others chart, you should grind into that and then immediately lead to an explosive move through that level. Remember, we also had the cup and handle formation over here, which had a conservative measured move, taking it up to the target level that we've had here for months now, 1.23 trillion. The good news about this is when you break above this resistance level over here, you tend to flip previous resistance into support. So by reaching that measured move, we should then get a little bit of a throwback and a consolidation into this region, testing that as support, and that should lead us higher, right? Timing wise, we've focused on this as a timing period, as I've showcased before. That's around October, November of next year, which means you still have ample opportunity to make money, right? Total cryptocurrency market cap is also continuing towards the upside, and it is very, very bullish. As I covered with the Whale Room live members yesterday in the Zoom session, we said that pretty much tracking the previous week's lows are going to be vitally important to hold the support and to get that trend continuation, right? When the price starts to move very quickly like this, yes, the stops are going to be wide, and this is why we emphasize so often you want to have those positions established very early in the cycle, right? So you can probably raise this ever so slightly and trail this now underneath last week's low. As long as the total cryptocurrency market cap keeps holding up above last week's week low, it's bullish continuation, and you should expect prices to continue to rally, right? So again, is it altcoin season? Well, you can literally look at an indicator over here that says, is it altcoin season? And when this red line breaks into the altcoin season range, which is flashing on and off the screen now, that essentially means, yes, it is altcoin season. You can see it reaching now all the way up to those high 82 regions, right? So the 82 meaning the majority of altcoins are now starting to outperform Bitcoin. And this is where the exciting times come into the market. And I think you can take it a step further. Altcoin season is essentially determined when you see the market breadth, right? Basically, if you look at the dominance and the market breadth, the number of assets need to be significant that are outperforming Bitcoin, right? And that's where people get bored of Bitcoin and move into the altcoins, right? We have the USDT dominance continuing to break down over here. We'll keep an eye on that. So far, everything following to fruition. And then something interesting has happened for the first time since 2 to 3 cycles ago. And that is the CMF, right? The CMF essentially shows is the market in macro accumulation, meaning that new market participants are coming in and they keep buying and buying and buying, as opposed to looking to distribute or sell, right? And yes, they're buying, right? Because we can see the CMF has now crossed over into the runaway zone, which is above that 0.24 mark. And what's interesting about this is if you look at the 2021 cycle over here and you run a line vertically down the screen and you come and have a look at the CMF on the bottom, you can see the CMF actually didn't get into the runway zone in the prior cycle, right? And that's why we kind of got this double top where we topped out at $65,000 for Bitcoin in 2021. We came down, I think it dropped all the way back down to like $30,000, $40,000. And then we finished the cycle off at $69,000. And a lot of people were very disappointed with that. A lot of people back then were looking for at least $85,000 as an upside target, right? And it didn't get there. It was a lackluster sort of returned cycle, right? The returns were not that great. But if you look at the prior cycles where the CMF did reach into that runaway zone, what tended to happen is you led to that massive parabolic advancement, and that might be what we're about to see. So it's really, really looking good for profits ahead, right? Everything is lining up perfectly. And we can actually study and have a look at what we should expect for December when you focus on the prior times that you had a strong October and November, right? If you look over here, you can see strong October and November all the way back in 2015 led to a positive December. Strong 2016 October, November led to a strong December. Same thing for 2017, very, very strong December over there. Same thing for 2020, a strong December, right? So the question is, will we be getting a strong December for Bitcoin? Well, it should be trend continuation. And I'm going to give you the targets and why there's a possibility that in December we could actually see Bitcoin trading up to about $111,000, right? I'm going to give you the setup, everything that I'm looking at over there, and why we may see as soon as December $111,000 Bitcoin price and what you need to do next, right? So timing this with, or lining it up as well with the CMF, if we are about to lead into a parabolic move, at the end of the day, Bitcoin has moved a lot. Understand that this has become a large asset class, and pretty much from the lows now to the highs, Bitcoin has run up 5 extra turns, right? Around 500% move, which is very, very significant with no major scares. The pullbacks throughout have been incredibly orderly within the region of 20 to 30% drawdowns. Now, I've drawn out a little bit of a projection over here for how things could play out if the cycle is going to be long lasting, and if we are going to play out this runaway zone for the CMF and get this parabolic advancement like we saw all the way back in 2013-14, as well as in 2017 cycle, which we seem to be trading very, very similar to what we saw back in this 2016 to 2017 cycle. So if that is to play out, eventually, there will need to be a bit of a sell-off for Bitcoin. And the timing factor that we've been looking at for a long time is expecting that Bitcoin will top out somewhere over here between August and November 2025. Now, where do I get those numbers? There's two ways that you can determine this. You have to use various different anchor points, right? Number one, you can either anchor from the exact lows of each of the cycles and measure out how far the cycles typically go before topping out. The other way that you can anchor is you can also look at the previous highs. And then the third way is you can look at the halving cycles, right? We've covered the halving cycles before. It all comes to the same target. Essentially, what you're looking at over here is from the top of the previous cycle to the next top is 49 months. From the top of this cycle to the next top was 46 months. And I will remind you how well the bottoms were nailed, right? If you look the bottom to the bottom, 47 months, the bottom to the bottom, exactly 47 months. So we can already look 47 months to where the next bottom may be. And that's probably going to be around October 2026. But what about the tops, right? So we go on average between 46 and 49 months, lines up to that August to November 2025. But as I've said, I don't think it will move in a straight line. I think what you may see is if we do actually push up to that $110,000, maybe even $120,000 mark sometime this year, early next year, I think that eventually you are going to have a little bit of a correction, and it might be a sell in May and go away type of playbook where you then just end up putting in a macro high low, right? So if you look over here, you got your ultimate lows, you got a macro high low over there, you had your next macro high low over here. You might see price push up according to my little drawings over here, and then pull back in January. I'm going to show you why in January specifically, and then bounce off, come back down into the start of the pullback may occur from January, and then you pull back all the way into maybe March, April, May, somewhere around there, set in your next macro high low, and then finish off the year very, very strong where you lead to your ultimate peak. So this is kind of the blueprint, the playbook. This is what we're looking at over here. We're continuing to gauge and monitor things day to day, week to week, which is why you need to be here each and every single day, right? Smash the bell notification. Also follow me on Twitter. If you're not already following me on Twitter, you will see my Twitter account let's just quickly go over here. You can go through to my Twitter account over here. So there it is. There you go, at Kyledoops. Go through to that one with the blue tick. I will update you there as well if anything drastic changes within the market. Now, why do I say January, right? Well, if you look at Benjamin Cowan, who studies a lot of the prior parts of the cycle, you can see the similarities, as I just suggested, that we have between the 2016-17 cycle and this particular cycle right now, with the CMF also ticking back up, just like we saw in 2016 and 17. Now, if you look at this over here, he showcases in the last two cycles, not only 2017, but also in 2021, we actually had our post-halving correction occur in January, right? So I know a lot of people are looking for a correction right now, but you may actually see altcoins continue to run throughout December, and then in January you get a little bit of a flush. So I do think it's something to pay attention to. This is a fractal. I'm not the biggest fan of fractals, but I think that it is food for thought. As a trader and investor, you always need to analyze the market from both directions. You need to weigh up the probabilities, and then you need to play the market in the direction of where the probability probabilities are highest. But it's important to understand this, right? It's important to focus on what could potentially go wrong if you are long and you believe the market is going to go up, and how much money would you stand to lose, right? That's the most important part. That is your position sizing that comes into play. How much money would you stand to lose if you do turn out to be wrong on your thesis, right? Again, we do cover all of this, by the way. Here we go in risk management. Risk management, part of the Whale School course content. Again, guys, sign up while you still can. Everything is over there for your own use. So we are looking at that, right? Let's continue on over here. So going beyond that point over there, where were we? Over there, January potential correction. So we're looking at price over here. The longer price holds up sideways throughout December, the higher the chances are that you'll get that big spike up. I'm going to show you on the 4-hour time frame why you might have an ascending triangle which is forming, and that could lead price up to about that $110,000, $111,000 mark. And maybe that's where you do find the local top. If that does play out into January and then you start to lead into that pullback, we'll catch it, right? We'll catch it. So make sure you tune in each and every single day. Right now, everything is still looking pretty strong. Bitcoin is actually holding up above the 3 MA on the 5-day time frame. We have the 3, the 9, and the 30. This is a full-on bullish posturing for these EMAs with price above the short one, above the medium time frame, and above the long. You have ETH as well, which is actually looking stronger than Bitcoin, with the angle of those MAs pulling back, bouncing off of that. And then, of course, we have Solana. Solana a little bit weaker, losing that 3 MA right now, but it has major support coming in at about 207, right? So keep an eye out on those. We'll continue to monitor the trend. Pullbacks are for buying. The trends are very much towards the upside and very powerfully too, right? We're also keeping an eye on the YouTube views. What is going to bring that next bit of retail interest into the market? Well, number one, Bitcoin crossing $100,000 will make the headlines. You'll see a lot of new comers coming back into the market. I know there's already a lot of new people, but at the end of the day, price is absolutely, or at least the sentiment is nowhere near where it was. Remember, we're only about halfway compared to where we were in the 2021 cycle peaks, right? We're sitting at around just under 2 million viewers across all these various different crypto channels, whereas near the peak over there, we were getting about 4 million views per day across all these various different crypto channels. And we know that the predominant source of content consumption for crypto native people interested in crypto, is coming from, of course, YouTube. It's the easiest to digest and it's visual, right? Understanding the markets is very visual. People rarely are going to go and listen to a podcast or anything like that and make their decisions. They want to see visually on a chart, enter here, exit here, for example. So we're expecting this to tick up a whole lot more. And what could bring that retail interest? Well, this is one thing that just came out. We have Coinbase now allowing users to purchase crypto with Apple Pay. This is just making it so much easier. When I got into crypto back in 2017, it was almost impossible to deposit money onto an exchange and get an actual transaction through. I remember I was banking with a US bank back then. I deposited a whole lot of capital across, and they were very anti-crypto back then. And basically, my money disappeared. It was at the time, I think, the value of 5 Bitcoins worth of money gone, right? It took me 9-10 months to reclaim that money following many lawsuits that I was threatening them with. And ultimately, I missed the opportunity cost. Bitcoin at that point already ran all the way to $20,000, and that was the end of it, right? So things have changed a lot compared to the prior cycles. And this is really the at least retail adoption phase of the cycle, right? So 2017 and before that for crypto was really that early phase of extremely early adopters, right? Then we went into the 2021 cycle, which was the last cycle. I believe that was more the media attention phase. Some people dabbled in crypto, but they ended up getting heavily wrecked, buying pretty much right between 65 and 69K. Now, this particular cycle, I think, is following the crypto awareness cycle, where these people garnered the attention and understanding of how crypto works and how to buy it. We now have the retail adoption cycle, where I think plenty new people will come in, and you're especially seeing the stock markets as well rallying up very, very hard, which is driving additional interest into the market, right? We don't necessarily have the same liquidity yet, right? Keyword yet, that we had in 2021 and 2020. Reason being is, of course, once they shut the world down with COVID, they gave those stimulus checks that were pretty much free money for people to enter into the market on steroids. People didn't care about it, right? So using leverage, things like that, pumped the price very, very aggressively. But I say yet because eventually the Fed, which could happen as soon as, I think it's the 18th of December is their next meeting, they could start buying back assets. We're looking for that key word and that change where they're going from a restrictive stance on monetary policy into a more loose stance on monetary policy, and they're going to say that they're buying back their assets. When that happens, that's usually the signal that the money printer is going to start to go off and kick into high gear, and that's where you're going to see everything absolutely fly. And I think it's going to line up perfectly with, of course, the retail adoption phase going into full force, right? So we'll keep an eye out on that. Also, prices coming down ever so slightly in the start of the month is completely normal. For the last 6 months, this is exactly what we've seen. If you look at this chart over here, you can see the start of the month in July, price comes down, ends up pumping into August, right? Then August, price comes down, pumps for the rest of August. September comes down, pumps for the rest of September. Start of October comes down, and so the history repeats, right? Pumps all the way into November. November, first couple of days, price comes down, and we pump the whole of November. That's been the biggest pump that we've seen. This has been the sequence of what we've seen for the last 6 months. And now, of course, a little bit of a pullback. How low could we go? The levels remain the same. Nothing has changed. $85,000 would kind of be the main area of support, and there's no guarantee that you actually get there. And even if you do, altcoins still probably continue to pump because we're seeing the Bitcoin dominance breakdown. Now, what could create that drawdown to $85,000? This is one thing that may make the rounds throughout today. If you look at this over here, you can see the government moving, of course, $1.92 billion worth of BTC. This is, of course, the government, US government wallets are tracked. They do hold some of the Bitcoin that's been confiscated over time. And we know that, Trump is coming into office in January, and maybe this will be the final thing that the Democrats try and pull just before Trump comes in. Maybe they'll liquidate all of these Bitcoin. I don't know. We'll have to see. If they do, of course, this could be one thing that will, of course, dump price, but it will be very, very quickly absorbed, right? 1.92 billion worth of BTC. This is the type of stuff that Michael Saylor eats for breakfast every morning, right? Absolutely no problem for him to absorb something like this, but it would create an initial scare and dump, right? So keep an eye out on that. If that does take place, you guys know the levels. There it is. $85,000. That's a key level. First bounce area would come in though at $91,000. But at the end of the day, I'm still focusing on the potential. And I say the potential because this is getting obviously very, very tight over here. But there is the potential for an ascending triangle to form over here. Again, $91,000. You are going to have support that's hanging out below over here. This is your prior resistance, flips it into support, price runs up, support again. If you do break down this trend line and you come down one more time, watch for the support to hold over here for the next major bounce. But if you do start to bounce from current levels, this will create the possibility that maybe, just maybe, you have this reaccumulation pattern on the low time frame, on the 4-hour forming, which is going to be your ascending triangle, right? So ascending triangles are one of the few patterns that I tend to use. Again, it is covered over here in Wales School under the chart pattern section. I cover all the various different patterns that work out in trading. And if that were to take place, this tends to break towards the upside the majority of the time if it's an ascending triangle. And most of the time that happens somewhere around the 70% of the way through the triangle, which is going to be this zone over here. So to give you a timing aspect, that's between Thursday and Friday. Basically, if bulls can hold price up over here for the rest of today and slowly crawl price up towards that 99K level again, possibly by Thursday or Friday, you could be looking at a potential breakout. The alternative is you lose this level and you come back down to the extremities, right? The best times to take your trades is always going to be at the extremities, right? So if you do lose this level and it comes down over here, that's a good zone to open up a trade. You do have your 200 EMA, which is rising as well. So it depends on how long it takes to get there, but this will be adding additional support. So there is a lot of support in those low 90K regions, right? So keep an eye out on that, right? I do also want to mention, based on the higher time frame thesis that I just gave over here, if you do actually happen to pull back and you come down to those low levels, this is just very, very far forward thinking. There is a major CME gap there, right? Remember, the CME gap is between $77,000 and $80,000. So the question is, do you run up to $110,000, $120,000 first before coming down to fill that CME gap. Well, I would imagine if this cycle plays out like some of the other cycles where we have a major rally into Q1 and then we correct during those summer lull periods in the US where it's sell in May and go away. Remember, the traditional finance markets tend to go on holiday during that time period, so it's low volume, and you do come down. Well, that would be a primary target that I'd be looking at. This is for way ahead, right? It's not for today, it's not for tomorrow, it's for months down the line. So do keep an eye out on that, right? So what could potentially, if prices do play out towards the upside, what could potentially drive that move to the measured move, right? This is your measured move target. You can take it over there. You can actually measure out the move. It's $111,000 if this does play out. What could get you there? Well, one thing could potentially be a short squeeze, because if you look at the 24-hour long to short ratio, there is actually a lot of market participants right now running shorts, right? You have 51.24% against 48.76%, which are long. When the market is in a powerful trending move like this, in a bullish market, you expect that these two digits should be flipped, right? It should be the inverse. You should see about 51 to 2% of the market long and about 48% of the market short. Instead, you have the exact opposite, and we haven't had a massive billion-dollar liquidation yet. Maybe that could bring that billion-dollar liquidation. You can see the liquidity overhead over there at $97,000. So keep an eye out on that. I know a lot of people are also very heavily short on XRP, right? So I would expect another drive up for XRP, probably squeezing people out. Also, with that being said, it's very rare that you're going to see, ETH BTC run, the altcoins run when Bitcoin is going through a let's call it an unsustained crash, right? And a non-controlled sell-off. So where the market is fearful and you have this cascade towards the downside. And this looks to be the most optimal case, right? The most likely scenario is that we're going to continue to see altcoins rally through December and into the start of the new year, because we've studied what has happened specifically with Ethereum, right? And Ethereum tends to have its best time in Q1 of the year, and that's coming up soon. And if you look again at Benjamin Cowan, he showcased every single December 2015, 16, 17, 19, 20, 23, and now we're going into 2024 December. And what we've typically seen is ETH BTC tends to find a bottom and tends to bounce aggressively out of that area, leading into a prolonged run, right? And there it is, right? We've been planning this out for quite some time. So if any of you had cold feet to jump into this trade before, well, there's still an opportunity, right? It hasn't actually rallied off yet. I said for the extremely conservative people out there, you can just wait for it to cross this yellow line. What this simply means, I know there's new people out here, if ETH BTC goes up, it means for every 1% that Bitcoin goes up, Ethereum will go up more. It means that Ethereum is outperforming Bitcoin towards the upside. And if Bitcoin goes down and this chart's going up, it means Bitcoin is going down quicker than what Ethereum is going down, which means Ethereum becomes the better bet, right? So that's what we're looking at over there. We're expecting that this should break out all in alignment with, of course, the altcoin season index, which is now firing off. And we've always spoken about Ethereum's strength being incredibly important to sustain that altcoin season move, right? One thing that we still need to wait for, which is a little bit of a warning signal in the market, is the drop-off in volume, right? We've seen a drop-off in the sentiment with the fear and greed coming down quite a lot from those extreme greed zones. Now, I think today, if I quickly pull this up over here, we have, let's just see over here, we have the fear and greed. There it is. We have the fear and greed now dropping to 76, guys. This was sitting in the 90s, right? So the drop off in the fear and greed to 76 and the drop off in the 7-day daily exchange volume, which we've been tracking quite nicely with that moving average, also coming down, is the only thing that's a little bit of a warning signal that may just show apathy within the market, and it needs a little bit of time to consolidate and digest, at least in Bitcoin terms, right, before the next move up. We know there's a lot of excitement, of course, within the rest of the altcoin sector. So once this pumps over here and the alts are already doing as well as they're doing, you can expect that the alt will do even better, and you'll get a sustained bid, right? Sustained buying pressure behind the rest of the market. So keep an eye out on these things. This is why we're long on all these positions. I am very, very glad to see 𝗎𝗎𝗎 waking up. 387% up on that position. Now $7,800 in profit over there. We have Vulcan Forge looking good. We have Render as well looking good. $11,000 up on that trade. Zeus as well as part of our cross-chain protocols, doing super, super well. That's our exposure to that. Aptos as well, I should have taken a much bigger position. That's absolute peanuts there, but nevertheless, 75% up. I have a big spot position though, which will make up for this. I have Prime as well, up 160% over there, looking really, really good. That's some of my exposure to the gaming sector. And then, of course, we have all the trades as well on 𝗬𝗥. The only position that's down is Turbo, but I think Turbo will take a turn very, very soon. So again, render up 𝗬𝗢𝗓. I'm very happy to see 𝗬𝗓𝗓 running as well. You can see almost $23,000 in profit, 218% on this trade, right? So we'll talk about file storage as well in a little bit, see if there's any other opportunities there. What I do want to mention is take advantage of the sign-up bonuses, right? A lot of the exchanges are offering rebates or cashback opportunities, and you get sign-up bonuses. Everything is in the link in the description below. So if you sign up to Bybit and you sign up to 𝗬𝗥 over here, 𝗬𝗥 is actually currently running a competition at the moment where you can win $10,000 and a trip to the Crypto Banter headquarters. They're going to fully fund the trip for a couple of people over there. So sign up, use the link in the description below. This is where I've been building these swing trades. And if you do that, you can simultaneously come through and you can guess the price of what Bitcoin will be. You have until the end of this month. Closest guess wins one full Bitcoin, right? You can become a whole coiner by the end of this month if you guess the closest guess, right? Each exchange sign up that you take, listed below in the description, will qualify you for one guess per week, right? So you can put in a guess every single week. That's 1, 2, 3, 4 guesses per week from those exchanges until the end of this year. 4, 8, 12, 16. You get 16 guesses. Closest guess wins a full Bitcoin. Let's go. Okay, let's talk about it. 𝗏𝗡. I'm very happy to see 𝗏𝗡 running. As you can see, this was actually one of the trades that we were slightly down on for quite some time. So the fact that we're already up almost 400% on this trade, and you take a look at the weekly chart over here, and you can see it's pressing now into that resistance. I think 𝗏𝗡 is going to make a break for this very, very soon. If we close any candles above 0.038, this thing should absolutely explode. And who knows how high this is going to go, probably moving into price discovery. Yes, if you look at the chart over here, there'll be a lot of resistance, but the fact is that this launched right into the end of the bear market. I mean, come on, 𝗏𝗡 team, bro. Choose a better time to launch. That was a terrible time to launch your token. Straight down, everyone absolutely nuked it. So the way that I view it is there's not really, any underwater holders from this time period. So I see this as a fresh new chart. Yeah, pretty much you can start the chart from here, and you can just say this has been beautiful reaccumulation, reaccumulating between these range levels now and looking for a really, really nice break out of that zone. So that is 𝗏𝗡. That's one of the positions that we have open. Drop your chart request over there. Yes, we can have a look at Phantom as well. Let's quickly pull up Phantom right now. We know Phantom's doing their rebranding and relaunch into Sonic, which I think may be happening pretty much right now. Very, very strong. If you get this candle close above here, $1.24, you should see rapid expansion very, very quickly from that point. But that is the level to flip, right? Theoretically, you're coming into resistance, but based on what we're seeing with the rest of the market and the alt season heating up, chances are very likely that you're going to see continuation for Phantom out of that zone. So quickly going back to Solana, a little bit of a pullback after the big move up over here. Watch for Solana to find support. Again, strong areas anywhere between 200 and 210. If you're looking for blue chip, something safe that provides better upside potential than what Bitcoin would, I think between 200 and 210, Solana is one of the tokens that you do want to be looking at, right? So looking really good over there. We have TON as well. We have big positions on TON, really heating up over here, flipping the mid-range. We're looking for a move up to the top of the range high. If you don't have TON positions opened yet, now is probably the best time to be building that. So you can see 139% up already on this trade, and I would actually upsize this trade more if I had spare capital to do that, which I don't. Okay, because we're already all in, right? We're already all into the market. 𝗬𝗎 also absolutely cooking, flipping this level into support over here, defending that 1.618 fib extension at $3.23. I think this one's also going to run up to the 2.618 level. Casper, yes, I see your guys' request for Casper. Let's look at Casper. There it is. Okay, Casper looking good. I've always said anything around 14 cents is going to be really great value for Casper. You have to be patient with this one. Eventually, this one's going to break. The good news about this is the longer the consolidation or the range that something creates, you tend to see an equal time period where price runs up, right? So if this has been ranging for almost a year, you could expect that for the next year, this thing just continues to mark up with high highs and high lows. So Casper looking good. Injective as well looking good. Clearing above the mid-range over there. All the layer ones are starting to cook, and that's exactly what you expect to see when Bitcoin dominance starts to come down. It's always Ethereum and the other layer ones that run first, right? So everything looking really, really good over there. Let's quickly look at Ondo. New all-time highs, incredibly bullish over there. I mean, this is the level. This was the level to flip. I guess if you missed it, you missed it. You're going to have to wait for a throwback eventually at some point into this level. We have also still Mantra on the table. This was a trade that we entered in way, way, way back. This has been one of my biggest positions. Huge inefficiency candle over here, of course, but you have theoretically refilled some of that. If you are already long on Mantra or OM as a real world asset play, I would say just continue to hold that position. Okay. Let's scroll through. What else do we see over here? Let's quickly look at Render. Render looking good as well. Just broke the downsloping trend line over here, starting to heat up. I think that this is just going to continue to mark up into January towards the range highs. And if you can break above those range highs, then you're looking at your move up to about $20. FET. Okay, small pullback over here, but I also think that, a potential W formations in play. Remember, when you look at these W formations, you have this is your zone for the breakout. You've got that breakout over there. And as you can see over here, price comes down, right? Up. High low gets created over here. That's your high low. That's your bidding area. Breaks above. This is the area to give you that confirmation that this is going to play out. Start to close above the neckline. And now you're expecting acceleration up to $3, right? So you're expecting acceleration towards the top of the W formation to finish this chart pattern out. So it is looking good. Percentage move from here. FET could still be putting in another 64%. Pretty much in alignment with what we looked at on the others chart and on Total 3. All right, what else do we have, guys? Drop it in the comments. We'll pull them up. I know you guys want to look at Brett as well. Let's quickly have a look at Brett. Obviously, he's had a stellar move. I think it's just currently setting in the new weekly wick with a little bit of a pullback. I think if you're lucky enough to get this down at 18 cents, 18 cents is going to be a buy zone for Brett, especially when you look on a daily time frame. We're actually writing about that today in the Daily Candle newsletter, which is a free newsletter. The link's below as well. And then you should get rapid expansion from that point onwards. Okay. Some of the other coins to look at over here, file storage. You got Arweave on the move. As I mentioned, this is now already up almost $25,000 in profit on this trade. And you can see it's looking good, right? Higher highs, higher lows. If you are long on this, it's pretty easy in terms of the stop loss. The candle that occurred on Saturday, the 30th of November, pretty much hard stop underneath there, $21.65, and watch for continuation higher. Okay, what about Filecoin over here? Let's have a look at Filecoin. So Filecoin coming into resistance. Generally, these things will move almost in unison. I opted for Arweave over Filecoin because I think Filecoin you have to pay monthly for, and Arweave you pay once off for your file storage, right? But nevertheless, looking at the Filecoin chart over here, breaking above the resistance area at $7. If you can flip this into support, similar to what I mentioned now with Casper, it's been a very long range, right? Look how long that range has been. So when you do eventually break and defend this area, it does have enough momentum to at least move up to 16. And then after 16, you're looking at about $26 over there on Arweave. Now, another one that I'm looking at over here, which I recently just found, of course, is LimeWire. So LimeWire also, I don't know if any of you remember this, but LimeWire is from way back, right? If you go over here, you can see they were the file sharing brand. I don't know if any of you millennials out there or anyone that's older than a millennial remember this, but the iconic peer-to-peer file sharing brand from the early 2000s, right? They've returned. So now currently dabbling once again under AI and file sharing again. They're offering decentralized deepened GPU power and a marketplace, right? And you can see recently over the last month, this chart has been climbing onwards and upwards. So I'm going to keep an eye out on this one. Have a look at it. LimeWire, that's the name. If you can break back and hold above this 43 cents region, that opens up an easy trade to 81 cents, which is going to be about a double your money. And if that GPU AI deeper narrative starts to heat up and you start to clear these levels, this could be one of the lower caps that we can start to add to our potential watch list over there. So looking really good. I see there's requests as well for 𝗕𝗓. Let's have a look at 𝗕𝗓. Here it is. Okay, so 𝗕𝗓 looking good. Levels to clear, of course, major resistance coming in on this weekly level over here. We can run this trend line all the way back to the previous support over there that led to that big move up in 2021, right? So that's the level to clear. Once 𝗕𝗓 breaks above this, which I have no doubt that it will in the coming weeks and months, we're going to break above 828. Then you're going to start to see rapid continuation all the way up to about 16, 17. So from current prices, on a weekly scale, that's still another 130% move. And we are long on 𝗕𝗓, right? Here's our 𝗕𝗓 trade over there, up 16,000% or $16,000 at least, 325%. That's our leverage position. We long on spot as well, right? So we do have a spot trade, at least in Whale on the table. It's part of my portfolio. Okay, let's go to, there was another request over there, Rune. We have to look at Rune. We should also look at, I see, 𝗓𝗡coin, so Rune and then 𝗓𝗡coin. Let's have a look at Rune quickly. Let's go on our daily time frame over here. We're also long on Rune, but on spot, no leverage positions on Rune, just spot. Remember, Rune are burning liquidity every single day. So where's Rune? Where's Rune? Okay, there we go. Under the cross-chain protocols, here it is. Still looking fine. Let's quickly take a look on the weekly scale as well for Rune, just to get a clearer picture. Rune USDT, there it is. Okay, so here it is, Rune looking decent, pushing up. It's a bit of a sloppy chart, as I mentioned before. It still followed similar pattern to all the previous ones where you have this rounded bottom and you create the essentially the cup and handle. We're looking at the falling wedge formation. That's how we originally started to enter into this trade. So you had over there the falling wedge formation. We entered into the trade and we said all of these are kind of playing out in the same way, right? It's just sloppy, slow grind, but expect that it's just going to keep slow grinding up to the resistance at about 10. And I think once you start to break above $10, this one should start to look good. This is why I didn't take any leverage trades specifically on Rune, just because it's kind of a little bit of a sloppy chart. Swing lows, then it creates high highs. It's all over the place. But long term, I think this is going to do super, super well. The other one that we said we'll look at is 𝗓𝗡, right? 𝗓𝗡coin over here. This is on a weekly scale now. Let's see. Let's just zoom in. So in terms of levels to watch, you have got major resistance coming in at $2.30. Thereafter, the big level to clear is going to be $3.28, right? So with these kind of plays, you're betting on the overall gaming sector, NFT space. If you do place any bets on these, rather just look to as an index, right? If gaming as a whole is going to do well, if NFTs as a whole are going to do well, then most of these coins will do relatively well. So the only ones I have on the table right now, Vulcan Forge and Prime, and I have a very small 8 position, which we actually got somewhere near the lows over here. So I might size it up a bit. I just don't think that's where the majority of the momentum is yet. Super's obviously done very, very well. This is the level to clear for Super. If you can start to continue to close above the zone, you should mark up very, very quickly. There is actually an opportunity. Let me just quickly find this over here. We've noticed that the NFT space has started to heat up, right? Let me just quickly find the article over here. So give me 1 second. Let me type this in over here. Okay, so here it is. Let's just quickly pull this across. We recently wrote the article for anyone that's subscribed to the Whale Room newsletter. If you're not already subscribed to the Whale Room newsletter, there's a link in the description below over here. You can go through to the bottom. It's free. There it is. Just go through to the Whale Crypto Trades over there. Click that link. Sign up. It's totally, totally free. We just wrote, is NFTs back, or are NFTs back, right? Could NFTs mint new millionaires this crypto cycle like they did in the prior cycle? We saw NFTs were probably one of the most hard hit sectors, annihilated within this market. And we've written our take on what the future looks like, right? So go and have a look over there. We've even given some picks that you can potentially look at, and tying in NFT memes, right? Because when the market seeks risk, it really seeks risk. It goes as degen as possible. And I think that NFT memes could be the place to be, right? So go and have a look at that article, check it out. It is entirely free. And speaking of memes as well, if you haven't checked out 𝗕𝗫𝗓𝗓, this is a cool place over here where, you know, you can really trade with one of the best terminals out there, super fast, very, very cheap as well. And on top of that, you can set stop losses. It just gives you a lot of different options. There's a link to that as well below if you do want to check that out. 𝗕𝗫𝗓𝗓 is below, and we'll go into a couple more requests as well. Where's that 𝗕𝗫𝗓𝗓? There we go. Use that link over there. This is on-chain trading. The main benefit of using 𝗕𝗫𝗓𝗓 as well is that they don't custody your coins, right? You own the wallet, you own the seed phrases. You basically, it's like minting an NFT on their terminal to open up your wallet. You control everything. There's no possible way that they can rug you. And I think when it comes to memes or on-chain trading, that's actually the most important thing that you're looking for. So 𝗕𝗫𝗓𝗓 will be taking a lot of our trades over there, probably moving away from the likes of DEX tools and all the other platforms that we're going to go into using 𝗕𝗫𝗓𝗓𝗓. So speaking of which, Goku finding support over there, hitting the bottom of that range. All these guys have been washed out that aggressively bid this up. I'm still very bullish on this for the long term. I'll outline more this week why I'm bullish on this for the long term. But that is one of the low cap meme coin picks that we're looking at. Let's scroll through. Is there anything else in the memes over here that we need to look at? Let's double check 𝗥 with the full chart history over here. I think that eventually when you start to see the Dino coins come back down, you know, like the likes of XRP and Monero and all these older things, that's probably when you're going to start to see major bids found again on things like the main meme picks that we've had, like 𝗥, WIF, etc. Right? So keep an eye on that. All right. What else do we have? What else do we have, guys? I'm checking the comments. Giga. 𝗕𝗫𝗓𝗓. Yes, let's have a look at Giga. Let's have a look at 𝗕𝗫𝗓𝗓. For anyone out there that's wondering, I haven't sold any of my memes. I hold 100% of them. Remember, these are cycle long plays. Remember that the market works like this, right? Bitcoin tends to move through those, the Elliott wave patterns, 5 waves, right? Wave 1, wave 2, wave 3. You come down wave 4, and I believe this was the 49K was the bottom of wave 4, and now we're busy with wave 5, right? So during the peak of wave 5, that is where I'll be looking to exit the majority of those positions. But I believe we've only just started wave 5. You know, we're somewhere over here. We've just taken out those previous highs, which was the top of wave 3, leading down into wave 4 for Bitcoin. And now it's wave 5. So just so you know, I'm still holding all of those positions. We'll reconsolidate some of those positions. And also when you hit that end of wave 5, it doesn't mean that it's the end of the cycle, right? Let's go back to the monthly chart over here and the monthly overview. What that could mean is that you put in some sort of a wave 5 top over here, and then you reset the count, right? Come down, and then you kind of start again. Wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, and wave 5, right? You finish it off again. So pretty ironic that I drew it almost perfectly over there. Anyway, okay, let's have a look. Let's not deviate too much. So going back to the memes, we had the question around Giga, right? Let's quickly go to Giga Chad, Giga USDT. So great opportunity for those of you who originally missed out on the meme rally initially. Look at this over here. Price coming down. If you can get this, you know, anywhere between 0.027 to about 0.031. I think that's an absolutely rock solid area. Yes, the memes move with extremely high velocity and volatility. That's 13% down. And if it goes all the way to the bottom over there, it could be 24% down still. So keep an eye out on that. What else? What else do we have in terms of the memes? Let's scroll up. Let's quickly look through our list over here. Memes. Where are you? All right. Okay, here we have it. Memes. Okay, let's quickly check Turbo because we are still waiting for Turbo to recover. So I said Turbo is probably going to deviate back on top over here. It's very unlikely that the rest of the market will pump and Turbo won't. So watch for this. The deviation, hold back in the range over there, and that's where that should run. Remember, this is the only position that we have that's currently down, right? 73% down, $3,000 down. I don't have stop losses on these because I was scaling in, right? I was building swing positions that I'm going to hold for the rest of the cycle over there. And that's the reason why with that particular trade, there's no stop loss, right? So I'll probably add a little bit more very, very soon. I'm just waiting for confirmation over here. Next up, let's look at Popcat. So there's PopCat hitting the key support over there. This is kind of the area where I now expect PopCat over the coming days and weeks should start to climb, right? So you should see this slowly starting to move out of the zone. I think this is a great value area, especially if you got on that wick over there. What an opportunity to get into more PopCat. Remember, we originally went long on PopCat at the first yellow box down here. So our position is still massively, massively up, right? We went long at about 34 cents with absolute size on that trade, which means if you took that with us in whale room, you're still up 275%. Well done, guys. Okay, MOG. Yes, let's have a look at MOG. When ETH breaks out, I do believe that MOG will be one of the top runners. So we do need to have a look at MOG. Where are you? Let's just type this in here quickly. Okay, MOG. Here it is. And let's go MOG. Okay, perfect. Still fine. Back testing into the range high breakout level, pretty much according to my drawings is what I think will happen next. And I think this could happen very, very soon, right? I'd love to get some new liquidity and actually open up even bigger positions. My main positions, just so you guys know, are run via spot. Spot trading, meaning you're just holding the underlying asset with less risk. But I open up just for fun some of these leverage plays over here. I would love to open up bigger positions on things like MOG, things like PopCat, things on GigaChad that are all the way down at the bottom. Just for the vibe during the bull run. It's always exciting to showcase those meme trades, but understand you guys don't need to do this. You don't have to open up leverage trades. This is about 1% of my portfolio. You really want to limit how much money you're putting into perpetuals, because if the market turns against you, you could blow your entire account. I think many more people have lost all of their money through high leverage trading than ever made money from high leverage trading, right? So please keep that statistic in mind. The market is designed to wreck most of the people most of the time. So be very, very, very careful, right? As the market moves through that exuberant state. Spot holds are the way to go. Look at the Whale Trades newsletter over here. Go and check that out, guys. Make sure that you go and read through this if you haven't already. Check out 𝗕𝗫𝗖𝗪𝗓 as well. And then most importantly, sign up to Whale School, right? We start tomorrow. It's if you want to learn how to trade like a whale in just 10 days, doing live workshops beyond the course content where we look at relevant market things and we'll take trades and things like that as well. So please do sign up. The links are in the description below. That is it from me. I will see all of you on the next one. I hope you have an absolutely wonderful day wherever you are in the world. And I will catch the rest of you tomorrow. Have a great day and cheers for now, guys.